Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a framework that literally defines how our beliefs about learning dictate our ultimate success. Seriously, it's a concept that can completely shift how you approach your career, your personal goals, and honestly, even how you praise your kids. So, let's just dive right into this quote. The view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. I mean, that sets a pretty reflective, high-stakes tone right out of the gate, doesn't it? It's basically saying that our self-perception literally shapes our entire reality and our maximum potential. And the source for this whole transformative idea is the brilliant psychologist Carol S. Dweck. In her groundbreaking book, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, she details years and years of research that uncovered a simple but profound truth. A person's ability to grow, to adapt, and to tackle really tough challenges, well, it relies heavily on their own internal conception of their intellect. It is all about what she coined as your mindset. To break this all down, here's our roadmap for today. We'll define the two mindsets, explore our responses to failure, look at some real-world case studies, deconstruct the myth of pure talent, uncover the power of awareness, and finally figure out how to actively cultivate a growth mindset. All right, let's jump into section 1, the two mindsets defined, the core dichotomy. So Dweck identified a pretty stark contrast between two main camps. On one side, you have the fixed mindset. This is the belief that intelligence is just predetermined and totally unchanging. It's an innate biological fact, a rigid you either have it or you don't proposition. But on the other side, we have the growth mindset. This is the core belief that intelligence is transformational. Through effort, practically anything can be learned and improved upon. Your intellect isn't just carved in stone. It's this incredibly malleable, growing capacity. Moving on to section 2, responses to failure. What happens when we stumble? Okay, the absolutely crucial point here is how each mindset interprets a stumble. If you have a fixed mindset, failure is just devastating. To them, it seemingly confirms a complete lack of abilities. It's like, I failed, therefore I am not smart, period. As a result, they avoid risk at all costs just to hide any deficiencies. But look at the growth mindset. Here, failure is just a predictable, totally normal step on the way to mastery. Appearances are far less important. Looking a little foolish or like a novice, that's just a temporary, expected state on the continuum toward true expertise. And you'd be amazed at how early this behavior starts. Dweck conducted this fascinating study observing 4-year-olds. Step 1, the kids were given an easy puzzle to solve. Easy enough. Step 2, they were offered a harder, more challenging puzzle. Now, step 3 is where it gets super interesting. The students with a fixed mindset actually opted to redo the easy puzzle just to avoid making any mistakes. But step 4 shows the growth mindset kids literally craved the harder puzzle. They weren't worried about failing, they just wanted to figure it out and improve. It's wild. Even at 4 years old, the fear of making a mistake stalls progress for some, while the craving for a challenge propels others forward. Which brings us to section 3, real-world case studies, the dangers of stagnation. The source material actually outlines some surprisingly dark consequences of a fixed mindset when it's left unchecked. It literally promotes dishonesty just to uphold feelings of adequacy. Just imagine college campuses where diagnostic tests become these life-or-death evaluations of a student's core human worth. Because of this pressure, output and status become valued way, way over the actual gritty process of learning. And sadly, as the text points out, the luxury of becoming is completely denied. In a fixed mindset, you have to already be a genius. There's no room to grow into one. And when that pressure boils over into the professional world, the results can be disastrous. Take the reporters Janet Cook and Stephen Glass. Both were highly recruited, incredibly respected journalists who ended up completely fabricating their stories. Why? Because the intense pressure to live up to their status as up-and-coming natural talents entirely overshadowed the time-consuming, difficult process of actually doing good reporting. They felt they didn't have the time to grow in their positions. They just had to instantly produce the illusion of brilliance. Let's transition to section 4, the myth of pure talent, deconstructing the pedestal. Now, who better to demonstrate the reality of effort over innate ability than Michael Jordan? We so often view him as this naturally born basketball god, right? But Dweck introduces him not as a flawless deity, but as the ultimate shining hero of relentless effort and the growth mindset. Let's just walk through his transformational timeline for a second. In high school, he was famously cut from the varsity basketball team. Now, someone with a fixed mindset probably would have quit right there. But Jordan, he worked harder. He goes to the NBA, wins 3 championships. Then he decides to completely shift gears and try minor league baseball, where he struggles heavily with a .202 batting average. Did he let that very public failure define him? No way. He recognized baseball required a lifetime of specific conditioning that he just didn't have. So for his return to the NBA, he didn't just walk back onto the court. He reinvented his heavier baseball body and his entire game, transitioning into a post-up jump shooting machine just to win 3 more titles. As Dweck powerfully states, even geniuses have to work hard for their achievements. Effort is what ignites that ability and turns it into accomplishment. Talent is merely the starting line, folks. Effort is the prime mover. All right, Section 5, the power of awareness, a cell with a key. So, the real key to this entire concept is understanding that mindsets are not constant. They aren't carved in stone. Just being aware of the fixed and growth mindsets gives you the incredible power to actually change them. Knowing these frameworks exist allows you to catch yourself. When you feel you're slipping into a fixed mindset, maybe rationalizing your fear of a new challenge, this awareness empowers you to consciously step back into a state of growth. We see this so clearly when we compare their goals. Fixed mindset goals are entirely about extrinsic outcomes. You must be the best, you must be on top. The outcome is literally everything. If you win a silver medal, you view yourself as a failure. But growth mindset goals, those are driven by intrinsic motivations. It's about becoming a better version of yourself. The journey itself matters. A silver medalist with a growth mindset values the incredible athletic growth they achieve during that process, which frankly provides a clear path to improve their future performance. Finally, let's wrap up with Section 6, cultivating a growth mindset, actionable takeaways. So here is how you actively cultivate growth in your own life. First, measure your success in the long term, not just by a single test or a single bad day. Second, and this one is huge, stop saying you are smart. I know it sounds completely counterintuitive, right? But praising innate intelligence ironically traps people in a fixed mindset. Instead, center all your praise and your criticism on the process and the effort. Remember that raw talent is vastly overvalued. And finally, actively push yourself and the people around you toward their true potential. Which leads us to a really powerful question derived directly from Dweck's research. Will you allow yourself the luxury of becoming? I want to challenge you today to stop needing to already be the expert. Stop needing to be the smartest person in the room from day one. Embrace the lifelong, gritty, beautiful process of growth. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I hope you leave here today feeling ready to tackle your next big challenge.